Today I'm going to show you my professional film studio that is cost-effective and fits on one rolling stand.
Wow.
Creating content has never been more important, and this doesn't just go for content creators like me. Businesses, performers, churches, schools, and everyone in between find themselves in front of a camera needing to film that next lecture or record that audition, create a training video for their staff, and so on. My name is Patrick, and I love creating content, but it doesn't pay my bills yet. So I work full-time as a worship pastor at a church in New York City. As a matter of fact, I've been leading worship since I was 13 years old. And like everyone else in early 2020, when the world shut down, we had to quickly figure out as a church how to replace our in-person meetings and services with video. And as the only person on our staff who knew how to film even the most basic video, I had to be in the room every single time someone needed to record even the most basic video. I quickly learned that I needed to create a self-tape system that didn't require me to be present every time something needed to be filmed. So this is what I created. You're looking at a mobile content creation studio that captures high-quality video and crispy audio. It's easy to use, and like I said, it's very mobile. And mobility is important because my office space is shared space. There's quite a few people working here, so you never really know what area is safe to record in. And having the same look in every video is boring, even though this tends to be kind of the look I have in every video. So we've strategically set up this upstairs office space with different workspaces that intentionally have different looks. If one of the spaces is occupied, I can roll this entire rig into another location to film. You might record a podcast here, or maybe you want to sit here to interview someone about things. All of this is possible since the rig is so portable, and the best part is the rig is easy to use. It's so easy to use that I don't have to be here for filming every time a content idea pops into one of my coworkers' heads. So let's break it down. First off, this rolling stand is called a C-stand, but not all C-stands are rolling C-stands, but mobility is important to me, so this one rolls. I would suggest getting some sandbags to stabilize your C-stand, especially if it's a rolling C-stand, but being able to move an entire film studio wherever you desire is a non-negotiable for me, as I said earlier. And I'll add a link to this stand along with all of the other gear I'm about to mention down in the description, because none of this gear was given to me. I used my own American dollars to buy it all. But feel free to click some of those affiliate links in the description of this video because that really helps my channel out. Now, in a setup like this, most people are going to want to focus on the camera as the main attraction. But to be clear, I'm going to be focusing way more time in this video on the audio portions of this setup. You see, most creators start out by worrying way too much about their camera and their lenses, forgetting that one of the most popular cameras in the world is most likely already in your pocket. That's right. Focus on your audio before you focus on your video. I know you've heard me say this 1,000 times if you've watched any of my other videos, but viewers will watch lower quality video as long as the audio is crispy. On the other hand, if your video is the highest definition possible and all of your cuts are right, but your audio is low quality, people will click away. The ears are far more sensitive than the eyes. So of course, we can just mount our phone onto this rig, but since we, in my setup, do have a higher end camera, we're going to use it. And we chose to go with the Sony ZV-E10. This is an easy to use camera with the ability to change lenses, which kind of future-proofs you down the line as your setup and your needs change. You can change the lens and give yourself and your camera a completely different look. So having interchangeable lenses is kind of a non-negotiable for me. But again, if you just have your phone, start out there. But if it is time for you to buy a camera and you're looking for a cost-effective option that's also very professional, I cannot suggest the Sony ZV-E10 enough. And this camera is going to mount perfectly into this teleprompter, which is the next piece of gear we're going to get into. Now, small note here. Get into the habit of writing scripts. You think teleprompter, writing scripts, it feels like a waste of time, especially to a new creator, but it's actually a huge time saver. Instead of stumbling over your words or recording an entire video only to realize you didn't mention that important call to action you were supposed to say, you can script out your videos and make sure everything you need to share is mentioned and captured.
You guys all read the script, right?
I don't read a script. Script reads me.
In almost all of my videos, I use a teleprompter like I'm using right now. There are many teleprompters like this one, but this one's mine. It's not too expensive, and it will become one of your favorite tools if you begin to make it part of your content creation rhythm. So with this teleprompter, I use a free app called ICue, I-C-U-E, along with my iPad. I drop my script into the iPad, and it's reflected right on the glass portion of this teleprompter, and my camera lens is right behind that glass. So I am looking directly into the lens, but I'm seeing my script and making sure that everything I want to share is captured.
He's the best.
And here's the kicker. I also connect this tiny Bluetooth pedal to my iPad, which allows me to stop and start the teleprompter at will. This makes recording myself a breeze. And if you don't like this pedal, there are loads of other pedals, hand clickers, or you can even just set the teleprompter to a speed that works for you while recording. Right under the teleprompter is a confidence monitor, and I absolutely love these portable displays that have been coming out recently. They easily fit into your bag or mount onto a C-stand like this one, and with a quick glance, I'm able to see my shot, make sure I'm in focus, and having a flip-out screen is great, but having this large image that is similar to the size of your everyday laptop that someone might use to watch this video once you're done really gives you a clear picture of what you're working with.
Enhance.
I've also found that when someone is being filmed, it makes them more comfortable to be able to see themselves. Not knowing what is being seen by the camera makes people uneasy. You'll begin to hear them ask questions like, am I in focus? How do I look? Do I look silly? Do I look dumb? Do I sound crazy? But this screen instills confidence in the subject being filmed. They aren't worried about how they look anymore. There's a reason why a screen like this is called a confidence monitor, because it instills confidence in the subject. Now, our stand is getting very full already, so organization is going to become a problem at some point depending on what you add to your mobile filming rig. So as I add gear onto this stand, I am kind of obsessed with cable management. It's a huge priority for me. So I have Velcro cable ties holding down all of the excess cable, and everything that requires power is plugged into this surge protector. Now, since this surge protector is mounted to the stand, there's only one cable coming off the C-stand to plug into the wall to provide power. And again, this makes our stand even more mobile. You don't have tons of cables running to the wall. You're not looking for multiple outlets and using multiple extension cords. There's one cable coming off the stand that powers everything. And speaking of power, if you're using a camera that requires a battery, which, I mean, if you're using a camera, you are using a camera that requires a battery, right? Please just bite the bullet and get a dummy battery like the one I have on my C-stand. This provides continuous power to your camera, which means that you'll never be in that situation where a battery is drained right before you need to film and then you have to wait for it to charge up. So now that we've talked about some of that gear, let's get into audio. I'm particularly proud of the audio setup on this mobile unit. See, all audio is captured using the Zoom H6, and there's a reason why I went with the H6, but we're gonna get into that a little bit later. My goal, again, is ease of use. I want anyone in the office to be able to walk up to this rig and begin recording with the least amount of setup possible. But no matter how easy the setup is, nothing is foolproof. Am I right? I mean, we can all agree on that. So I don't just have high quality mics, but I have backups for my backups on my C-stand. On the top of the C-stand, I have a shotgun mic, and I went with the Rode Video Mic Go 2. It's versatile, it sounds great, and it's cost effective at around 99 bucks. And when I record, this mic is always on. Again, it's not a crappy backup that I'll use if I have to. It's quality. If I only recorded with this, I'd be set, and often I do. But of course, we need to make this more complicated because that's what I do.
I'm going to make this way harder than it needs to be.
Actually, the first time I used this rig, one of my other mics failed. So having this mic, my shotgun mic, capturing quality audio of all my subjects in the room, it saved me a huge headache and probably a reshoot, which would have taken forever. So you're going to see 2 cheese plates from a company called Small Rig, along with cold shoe mounts from the same exact company attached to this stand. And this plate is where my other mic, the Rode Wireless Go 2 microphone system, is mounted, along with my Zoom H6. So my shotgun mic is always recording. The Rode Wireless Go 2 is a mic system for anyone to grab and strap to their shirt or even hold for recording. But where does it all go? I went with, like I said, the Zoom H6 for my audio recorder, and I added these barrels that convert an 1/8 inch plug to XLR. So the Rode Wireless Go 2 receiver is plugged into channel 1, and here's the genius. The Rode Wireless Go transmitters are microphones themselves. They wirelessly send audio to the receiver, which goes straight into the Zoom. And the Zoom has a clear readout to make sure your audio isn't peaking or distorted. So if you're seeing green and yellow, you're good, but if that mic gets up into the red, you're in trouble. So both mics from the Rode Wireless Go 2 system are being recorded into channel 1 of the Zoom. But the Rode Wireless Go has a trick up its sleeve, and Rode isn't alone in this field. There are several companies making mic systems like this, and one of the best features is that these transmitters that are in these mic systems are the smallest field recorders of all time, meaning that they have built-in storage. So not only do they send audio wirelessly from the transmitters to their receiver, which again goes straight into the Zoom, but they also record as a backup or as your main recording straight onto themselves. I believe they have about 8 gigabytes of storage on themselves.
They're in the computer?
So I've got audio going from my shotgun mic into the Zoom, from my Rode Wireless Go 2 to its receiver into the Zoom, but also I'm recording audio onto the mics themselves. And when you are using the Rode mics, you use this handy little clip on the back of them to fix it onto the cold shoe that lives on this cheese plate. And to dummy-proof this, we have brought in our best friend, Mr. Label Maker, to help us out to make sure everybody puts things back where they need to go. So as a recap, you're recording straight onto the Rode Wireless Go transmitters, if you choose to use those. You're also sending audio to the Rode Wireless Go receiver, which is plugged into the Zoom, and the shotgun mic is always recording. Listen, if you can't get quality audio from at least one of those options, your video just wasn't meant to be. I hate to tell you, I'm sorry. Now, even with all of those mics, we're only using 2 inputs on the Zoom H6, which has H6, it has 6 inputs. Input 1 is for the Rode, input 2 is for the shotgun mic. But you can also plug in just a standard dynamic microphone to record a podcast episode, or a keyboard or a guitar to record some music. Just use one of the other 2 inputs on the Zoom, or you're not going to hurt your setup by unplugging one of these first 2 inputs and replacing it with another microphone if you don't want to use the shotgun, if you don't want to use the Rode Wireless Go 2, if you want to record 1 mic and 3 guitars. Last thing on mics, as a backup to your backup's backup, there is a stereo pair of mics that are always recording right on top of the Zoom that actually come with the H6. So all these features make the Zoom H6 great, and it's not costly to pick one up. I believe that this was about $200 renewed on Amazon, and it's never given me a problem and sounds amazing. But we still haven't touched on my favorite thing about this little recorder. Like I said, we're going to spend most of our time on audio because I think this is what is most difficult about setups like this. Anybody can push record on a camera or on their phone, but when it comes to audio, people get all confused. But we need to spend time talking about this stuff because this is what makes this setup so easy. 2 words on the Zoom H6: physical dials. As you can see, the Zoom shows me my audio levels as I record, like we were talking about earlier. But if one of my microphones is peaking, I don't have to dig through 1,000 menus to fix it. I simply turn this physical dial until the audio is right in the sweet spot that I like. Remember, we want anyone to be able to use this system, so that I don't have to be present every time someone presses record on a device. So have you ever tried to troubleshoot an audio gain staging issue with someone over the phone? Nightmare.
This is my nightmare!
So these physical dials allow easy control for a novice to make sure their mic is coming through strong, but not too strong. And once they're done recording, all they need to do is send me their footage and audio to edit. They take the SD card from the Zoom and send me the audio. If they filmed with our Sony ZV-E10, they would also send me the video from that SD card. If they filmed with their phone, they would just share the video with me from that device. But let me ask you, what's this for? Anytime someone comes to the office and they want to film, they can scan this QR code with their phone and it takes them straight to a private video on my YouTube channel that gives them a brief walkthrough on how this entire system works. Genius.
How's bragging camp going?
Speaking of my YouTube channel, don't leave without watching this video.